Melania Trump announces her new AI initiative. She's being put in charge of an AI initiative by president. She also could get the cover of a major fashion magazine. Finally, I've been covering her for years. Welcome to Doug In Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. I know you guys might think, the first lady, this means nothing. She's just the first lady. And fashion, Doug, fashion, not a big deal. Andrew Breitbart used to say that politics are downstream from culture. That is culture. If you want to get to the source of what's going on in politics, keep your eye on culture. I'm a mass media artist. I created Earthworm Jim that was a top level video game and animated series and a toy line. I've owned my own video game company that did work for DreamWorks. Steven Spielberg funded it. Bill Gates funded it. Jeffrey Katzenberg funded it. I've also done an animated series for Nickelodeon, CBS. I've done over 21 long-form comic books, some of which I've sold, half of which I've sold into Hollywood for millions of dollars. Let's read about Melania Trump, the latest big deal. This is still delicious. Revolt at Vanity Fair as whining staff threaten team walkout after new editor weighs up featuring Melania Trump on the cover. Even Vanity Fair, which has not put her on the cover yet so far, they're going, you know what, guys? Culture's changing. I know it's hard. She's only a very successful fashion model, but I know it's hard, but maybe we should put her on the cover. Quote, "We're not going to normalize this despot and his wife," said the employees. Vanity Fair is facing staff revolt over plans to make Melania Trump a cover star. By the way, this happened to a friend of mine who, when they found out that I was anti-trans, his company said that if he remained friends with me, they would all walk out because I was MAGA and against trans. They went after one of my friends who is a very famous person and said, all of our staff, we will all walk out on you. This is what Democrats do. Can you imagine me going into Nickelodeon while my animated series is on the air and going, if you don't distance yourself from John Kerry, all of my writers are going to leave. I'd tell all the writers, see ya, over John Kerry or over Trump. This is why Democrats, they're snowflakes. We call them snowflakes. Radar Online can reveal employees are raging. The first lady is even being considered for the coveted position, a move mooted by New York editor Mark Giudice. The bold move of putting Trump's wife, it's not bold, it's smart, on the front cover is reportedly down to the magazine's bid to bring in more conservatives. They're trying to bring in more conservatives and not hate them on their own cover. But staffers are so incensed by the change of direction. Some are even threatening to walk out if the Giudice goes through with the proposals. Speaking anonymously, always anonymously, because you don't want to get shot by a Democrat. One mid-level editor said, quote, "I will walk out the mother F door and half my staff will follow me. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord put your butt. See ya." Quote, "We are not going to normalize this despot and his wife. We're just not going to do it. We are going to stand for what's right." Does that sound right to you to not put a supermodel, a very popular supermodel that could double the circulation of your magazine, double your magazine sales? Like MAGA people would go out and for the first time go buy a Vogue. The editor continued, "If I have to work bagging groceries at Trader Joe's," this is his idea of punishment, doing a blue-collar job bagging groceries at Trader Joe's. To him, it's like working in the coal mines. "If I have to work in the coal mines with a bunch of Mexicans," you already know he was about to say it. "If I have to work bagging groceries at a Trader Joe's, I'll do it." Whoa, this guy's serious. This is so disgusting. Giudice puts Melania on the cover. Half of the editorial staff will walk out. I guarantee it. I'd buy more copies. Here's Melania Trump. Look at this pretty close-up. That's not bad. If you got this camera this close on my face, I think many of you would probably lose your lunch. The idea of the first lady gracing the Vanity Fair cover might be a nightmare for some, but in other quarters, the move has been well received. Fox News host Ainsley Earhardt said it would, quote, buy several of them. She would buy several of them if they would do this just to prove a point. So MAGA would go up and buy multiple copies. Would you buy a copy of Vanity Fair if they put her on the cover? Let me know in the chat below. Send a message to them. How many copies can I put you down for the first time? And those numbers would spike, and they'd get a very important message about business versus their imbecilic Democrat, Marxist, hateful staff, Democrat staff. While co-anchor Brian Kilmeade said the editor who made claims of walking out should be fired. True, they should fire that guy, absolutely. He's working against their bottom line, against their better business. Quote, you should be fired, he said. If you're at Vanity Fair right now, look for a mid-level editor who looks angry and toss them out and send them to Trader Joe's to bag groceries. The news is only the latest decision by Guiducci to try to shake things up since he took over the editorial duties at Vanity Fair in June. He told staffers in July that the publication would be focusing more on entertainment, culture, quote, money, politics, and style moving forward, just like this channel. Look how beautiful the lovely First Lady is. I'm so happy with her. Let me know in the chat below if you could think of a better First Lady in the entire planet. Maybe Molly Hemingway. Here's the Federalist. Speaking of Molly Hemingway, Lyman says the left is melting down after realizing they no longer set the cultural tone. Now, this one is important to me. You guys have heard me talk a lot about culture and about Democrats thinking they control everything. She's talking about this Melania Trump cover and why it's truly horrific to Democrats.
The cover, I mean, what's up with this?
Yeah, I think the best way to understand this outrage is you have to look at magazines as part of the arts institutions. And unfortunately, institutions have become ideological battlegrounds. Now, Melania Trump may have been a career model, but right now she represents something else. She represents a shift in America to the right. And for a long time, the left has had the opportunity to set the narrative through these institutions about what is cool, what's not cool, what can be admired, what can't be, and what's acceptable and what's not. And we know where conservatives have fallen on that spectrum. So to put Melania...
Yeah, they've said for years that we're not creative. I don't know if you ever heard this, but they've said this to my face. Conservatives aren't that creative. I've had the top awards and successes in their secular Marxist world where people adore my work. They love the artistry. They have respect for my creative integrity, my art theory, my skills, developing everything, for being able to entertain them and make them laugh. I got yesterday to say, it's too bad you're such a effing piece of S because you support Trump and I love your game. I'm like one of a handful of artists. I'm the only artist that has succeeded in video games, comic books, animated television, and YouTube. Okay, the only one of those. No one has succeeded in those fields, creating characters and content like I have. One of the few. But I do pretty well even among most Hollywood animators. I put myself right in the middle, in the center of talent in comics, animation, video games. And they can't stand it that there's one conservative Christian creator. They completely go unglued. They're like, you have to get out of this business. We can't have one of you. That's their form of tolerance, guys. They're psycho. They're totalitarians. That's why they call them totalitarians.
Trump on the cover would be that final nail in the coffin to the left to say, hey, you guys actually don't get to set the narrative anymore because being conservative is cool. It is in trend.
Well, you're giving a very good intellectual...
Well, yeah, don't waste your intellectual argument on the left. It is cool. Conservatism is being cool. Why? Purely because of Donald Trump. That's what the left, and sometimes even on the right, many of the rhinos and the cultural elites over at Commentary Magazine and, the National Review, Bill Buxley's old legacy magazine, they can't believe that Trump is changing the highest echelons of artistic culture. So last week, we talked about him working on the Kennedy Center. He's also doing beautification of Washington, D.C. And now his wife could be on the cover, a lady named Trump with her last name, on Vanity Fair. Trump is working deep into fashion, deep into culture. We showed you where LAX is selling MAGA sweatshirts. LA at a public airport, because suddenly we are having a say in culture. Not just MAGA, it's conservatives. It's families. People are open to Christians creating. People are open to normies creating. Cracker Barrel is an example of leftists doing the pro-gay Cracker Barrel. They just reversed their decision on the logo. Trump said you could instantly win this war if you just change it all back. Cracker Barrel, within 8 hours, announces they're changing the logo back to what it was. Now, they're still evil and corrupt on the inside, of course. They'll still be very pro-rainbow. But it shows Trump's influence and tradition's influence is winning in culture, and that means downstream winning in politics. Don't underestimate this stuff. It's not just about wacky pictures. Now, here's a very important, odd story about Melania Trump. Since we're on the subject, she's getting into AI. First Lady Melania Trump launches AI challenge. The president's wife, get this is the best, is proselytizing artificial intelligence to grade school children as the president embraces an AI slop aesthetic. Now, this is from MSNBC, so, this is going to be hostile territory. First Lady Melania Trump on Tuesday announced an artificial intelligence contest for K through 12 students nationwide. By the way, this will allow our kids in the future to compete with China. China is going to kick our butts on AI, massively so. If we don't submerge our kids in the technology, it's just a tool. Tools are neither good or evil. The wielder of the tool, like a submachine gun or a semi-automatic weapon, in the hands of a good person, very good. In the hands of a bad person, very bad. And we want our good kids to have access to artificial intelligence, because that's putting a powerful tool in their hands. Quote, are you ready for the AI challenge? Take part in this nationwide initiative to discover, develop, and expand AI's potential, she said in a video announcement. For the challenge, participants must complete a project that involves the study, development, or use of an AI method or tool to address a community challenge. The contest also invites educators to come up with new and creative approaches to teaching with AI. By the way, the kids, they'll be able to design like particle accelerators using AI. You'll be able to design whole skyscrapers. I have friends that have done whole YouTube channels without their audience knowing, but they used and made it entirely out of AI. It's possible. Quote, as someone who created an AI-powered audiobook, so she had them read her audiobook, and championed online safety through the Take It Down Act, I've seen firsthand the promise of the powerful technology, she said, referencing the audiobook version of her 2024 memoir, Melania. She used AI all over it, which was narrated by an AI-generated version of her voice. So that's how you get, if I wanted to use AI, I would put in about an hour of my voice reading and talking normal. AI can emulate it, and then any text you put in, it will read in your voice. This also has some of the repercussions, guys. You can't trust every phone call. You're going to get scammed. It'll sound like your banker, might sound like a friend. This is the kind of fraud that's coming because of AI. Like I said, that tool in the hands of someone bad is going to be very terrible. Let's move on. I'll show you a little clip of Melania's speech.
Are you ready for an AI challenge? Take part in this nationwide initiative to discover, develop, and expand AI's potential.
I just like hearing her voice. I like her voice.
And champion online safety through the Take It Down Act. I've seen firsthand.
She remember Zsa Zsa Gabor in Green Acres? New York is where I want to stay. She reminds me of Melania Trump so much in a very cute way. And finally, I never bring up Melania Trump without bringing up Michelle Obama, because everyone announced that Michelle Obama is the most beautiful woman in the world, and that's why she belongs in all the magazine covers. And I thought I'd go to a MAGA beautiful woman, Megyn Kelly, to make this case for me.
Melania Trump was a supermodel. She was a legit supermodel, but she never got the Vogue treatment in all 4 years she was first lady, first time around. She hasn't gotten it since then, notwithstanding the fact that they put Jill Biden on the cover. I think.
Who are you wearing, Jill Biden? What's your fashion? Oh, this is just a tablecloth.
At least twice. And Michelle Obama got the cover of Vogue 3 times. Now, I'm sorry. You may love Michelle Obama, but I'm just going to say it. She's not one of the world's most beautiful women. She's just not. Melania.
She's not one of the world's most beautiful women. That's one way of saying it. You know, part of the left jamming their narrative down is to jam their narrative down on your tastes. You're not allowed to say Michelle Obama is a homely woman. You're not allowed to say it. Not allowed to. There will only be one opinion on Michelle Obama, and you'll rave about how beautiful she is. You'll talk about how clean and articulate Barack Obama is. Stunning and attractive is what they all say. All qualities, all taste. The left believes they should control you on Cracker Barrel. What food they make, what you'll think of trans people, what you think of gays, what you think of blacks, what music, whether if you will accept or reject hip hop, country music, they believe all of your mind should be controlled by a top-down insect hive with the queen bee at the top dictating everything. And that's part of what we're pushing back here. It's in defense of tradition, our families, Christianity, culture, friends, loved ones, happiness, truth, goodness, beauty. And speaking of, I'm happy that Melania Trump could get the cover of Vogue. I made a song.
She steps to the mic with a skull and a glare, saying men don't get women, they just don't care. So many men have no idea what women go through, she cries, but we're tired of her lectures, her rolling eyes. She's preaching about choice like it's all we should know, but her bitter old rants steal the whole dang show. Us clueless, says men missing the mark. We haven't been researched, she shouts in the dark. But who's she to judge with her mansion and fame? Always pointing a finger, always shifting a blame. Overrated, entitled, she's the queen of complaint. Thinks she's speaking for all, but I say she ain't. Oh, mean Michelle, why you so bitter? Your lectures don't shine, it's glue covered in glitter. It's been reduced to choice, you moan and you sigh. Exhausted by you and your stick has run dry. Stop your whining, stop your fuss. MAGA's had enough of your lecturing us. She says our health's a machine, but her logic's a mess. The least of what it does is produce life, she confess. Sounds like she's spinning a tale to confuse, while she's sipping white wine in her designer shoes. Entitled and grumpy, she's out of touch. Thinks she's still the first lady, we gave her a flush. Oh, mean Michelle, why you so bitter? Your lectures don't shine, it's glue covered in glitter. It's been reduced to choice, you moan and you sigh. We're exhausted by you and your stick has run dry. Stop your whining, stop your fuss. MAGA's had enough of your lecturing us. No discussion, no connection, you claim with a sneer. But your words divide us, they don't bring us near. You point at the men, call them blind as can be, but your mean streak's the problem everyone sees. We're proud of our values, our faith and our fight. So take your complaints, put them where it's not light. Oh, mean Michelle, pack up your frown. Your overrated act ain't the talk of the town. It's about our life, you shout, but we're done. MAGA's moving forward, we're having real fun. So wave bye-bye from your elite ivory tower. We're singing this song with American God.
I'm Doug In Exile. Subscribe.